Good morning, Year 3, and welcome to your next maths lesson. We're going to continue our work on angles today, and we're going to be, in particular, trying to recognise and name acute angles and obtuse angles. I'm just going to move you slightly closer. So, last lesson, we were looking at right angles, and you will remember that a right angle is a perfectly vertical line and a perfectly horizontal line. It makes a right angle. It doesn't matter which side that right angle is. If it's a perfectly vertical line and a perfectly horizontal line meeting, that will form and create a right angle. And if you remember, if you just cut a corner off a piece of paper, that will be a right angle. A straight line going up and a straight line going across. And we can use that to check if something is a right angle or not. I've drawn two right angles over here, and it will just slot exactly into that angle. Remember, an angle is where two lines meet, and that space will fit perfectly in there, this shape, because it's a straight line and a horizontal line. And it's the same with this angle on this side. I just have to turn my angle checker, my piece of paper, and it fits perfectly in that space. So that was what a right angle was, and we were recognising and finding right angles in shapes last lesson. Today, though, we're going to look at acute and obtuse angles. Two new words. So an acute angle is an angle that is smaller than a right angle. Remember, a right angle would be a straight line going down and a line going across. Whereas you can see this angle is smaller than a right angle. A right angle would be going straight up and straight across, but you can see this is smaller than a right angle, this space. And we can check again by using our little right angle checker. Our little right angle, I can go put it over the top, and you can see it doesn't fit perfectly in that space. Even if I turn it, you can't see both lines. I'm putting it over the top of the angle. So you can see that it doesn't quite fit in that space. So that must be an acute angle because it is smaller than a right angle. I'm just going to walk around to the other side. Over here, I've drawn another angle, and this angle is an obtuse angle. An obtuse angle. And an obtuse angle is bigger than a right angle. And again, I can use my piece of paper to check if it is an obtuse angle or an acute angle or a right angle. I can put it on here, and you can see I've still got this big space over here. So this angle is clearly bigger than a right angle. And because it is bigger than a right angle, it must be an obtuse angle. I've actually drawn two shapes on my board here. A triangle, and I wonder if you can remember the name of this shape, is a quadrilateral, which is a four-sided shape. If you can remember the name, it's called a trapezium. A trapezium. And I can use my right angle checker here, my piece of paper, to check if my angles are acute angles or obtuse angles. All I need to do is put my piece of paper over the top of each angle. I'll start with this one. You can see that it is clearly smaller than my right angle, so it must be an acute angle. Again, I'm going to put it over the top right next to one of the lines up here, and I've still got this space left over, so this angle at the top must be an obtuse angle. And I could do that for each of the angles. I can go over across to my triangle here. I can put my shape on top, and again, you can very easily see that this angle is smaller than my right angle, so it must be an acute angle. You might be able to do lots of these just by looking at the shape. It is very useful to check, especially for angles that are close to a right angle. This one was quite close to being a right angle, so it's really useful for me to use my piece of paper just to check if it did fit perfectly in that space or not. I'm just going to move across to the other side. So your activity for today, you have this sheet here, and there are 10 angles on this sheet. You just need to have a look at each angle and write if it is an acute angle, an obtuse angle, or a right angle. you just need to write one of those words, either acute, obtuse, or a right angle. And those words are written on this top here, just to help you, acute or obtuse. Remember, acute, some people like to remember it as acute. If something's cute, it's quite small. Acute angle is a small angle. It's less than 90 degrees. Acute angle. An obtuse angle will be bigger than 90 degrees. Oh, I'm going the wrong way from the camera. Bigger than 90 degrees. Bigger than a right angle. If you happen to do that, you can draw 3 obtuse angles and 3 acute angles on the back. Draw 3 angles that are bigger than a right angle and 3 angles that are smaller than a right angle. Remember to use a ruler. And if you happen to do all of that, one extra challenge, could you draw 3 shapes in this bottom part of the sheet, if you have space, and see if you can colour the acute angles green, the obtuse angles red, and the right angles blue. So we can just have a look at my shape at the top here. I'm going to check this angle to start with. That is clearly a little bit bigger than a right angle, so it's an obtuse angle. So I'm just going to circle that angle red. I can then have a look at my other 2 angles. That is much smaller than my right angle, so it must be an acute angle. So that one can be green. And my final angle at the top. Just check it from both sides just to be certain. It is clearly smaller than my right angle. So again, it's an acute angle, so it can be green again. So if you have time and you want an extra challenge, draw 3 shapes on the back and try to circle each of the angles, green, red, or blue, whether it's an acute angle, an obtuse angle, or a right angle. Remember, I will be on Google Meet after about half an hour of the lesson. So if you'd like to go through any questions with me or check your answers or ask me anything in particular, please come on to Google Meet. I look forward to seeing them year 3.